It's the brightest object in the night sky after the moon, a constant, dazzling light that has guided sailors, inspired myths, and been worshipped as a goddess for millennia. And yet, no human eye has ever truly seen its surface. Venus, Earth's so-called twin, a world the same size, the same mass, orbiting in the same neighborhood. But behind that beauty lies horror. Venus is hotter than Mercury, even though it sits farther from the sun. Its atmosphere is a suffocating prison, thick enough to crush a submarine, laced with sulfuric acid, and burning at 465 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. For decades, Venus has been a planet of silence, a blank sphere in our telescopes, its secrets hidden behind a permanent veil of poisonous clouds. Until now. Because what scientists are uncovering is more than just geology, more than just weather. It's a warning, a story of a planet that became a furnace. And if we look closely enough, Venus may reveal not only its fate, but our own. Before we continue, subscribe to help us grow. Your support fuels this journey into the unknown. Venus is Earth's twin in every way that should matter. Almost the same size, almost the same density, almost the same gravity. By all logic, it should have been another paradise. And yet, it is not. Instead of oceans, Venus has vast plains of volcanic rock. Instead of blue skies, it has a permanent yellow haze, so dense it reflects 75% of the sun's light. Instead of gentle winds, it has jet streams that whip around the planet at hurricane speeds. And instead of life, it has death. But Venus hasn't always been silent. The Soviets were the first to break through. In the 1970s and 80s, their Venera landers survived long enough to send back the first images from another planet's surface. Grainy, distorted, eerie, flat slabs of rock beneath a sulfur-stained sky. No CGI, no filters, just raw, alien reality. NASA followed with Magellan in the 1990s, a radar mapping mission that orbited Venus for 4 years, revealing a surface scarred by volcanoes, fractures, and plains of solidified lava. Magellan proved that Venus wasn't just a twin of Earth, it was Earth's nightmare. And yet, for years, Venus faded into the background. Mars became the new obsession. Rovers rolled across red deserts. Elon Musk promised cities under domes. The moon returned to the spotlight with Artemis. And Venus? Forgotten. Until recently, hints of active volcanism, signs of possible biosignature gases, and even accidental images from passing spacecraft have thrust Venus back into the headlines. For decades, it was a planet of mystery. But now, silence is breaking. The rebirth of Venus exploration begins with 3 major discoveries. First, volcanic activity. In 2023, scientists digging through old Magellan radar data noticed something strange. 2 images of the same volcanic vent, Mons, one of the tallest volcanoes on Venus, taken 8 months apart. In the second image, the vent had changed. The walls collapsed. The radar reflections suggested something fresh had poured across the floor. Lava. If true, it meant Venus wasn't dead. It was alive, still erupting, still reshaping itself beneath those clouds. Second, phosphine. In 2020, astronomers using Earth-based telescopes announced something shocking: traces of phosphine gas in Venus's upper atmosphere. On Earth, phosphine is almost always produced by biology, by microbes. Could this be a hint of life drifting in the acidic clouds? The claim made headlines worldwide. It suggested that while the surface was hell, the skies above might still host something alive. But soon, critics pushed back. The signal was faint, the analysis was messy. Was it phosphine at all, or just an artifact of noisy data? Third, Parker Solar Probe. In 2020 and 2021, NASA's Parker Solar Probe, a spacecraft built to study the Sun, swung past Venus for gravitational assists. On a whim, engineers pointed its cameras at the planet's night side, and against all odds, it worked. The images showed glowing outlines of ridges, plains, and mountains. not radar, not CGI, visible light from Venus's actual surface. A ghostly glow radiates through the clouds. For the first time, humanity had truly seen Venus. Why do these discoveries matter? Because they change Venus from a dead world into a dynamic one. If volcanoes are active, then Venus has internal heat. If heat is rising, gases are venting, and if gases are venting, they may explain strange chemistry in the clouds. Venus stops being a static furnace and becomes a living, breathing planet. For decades, Mars has stolen the spotlight as the world's most likely to hold clues about life. But what if the real secret about our past and our future lies not on Mars, but on Venus? But here's the problem. The phosphine discovery that set the world ablaze. It was quickly challenged. Some scientists say the detection was a mirage, an error in processing. Others argue even if phosphine is there, it doesn't prove life. It could be volcanic chemistry we don't yet understand. Then there's the cost of landing on Venus. The Soviet landers survived for less than 2 hours before melting. Building machines tough enough to last longer requires exotic alloys, new cooling systems, and billions in funding. And politics complicates everything. NASA has the technology for new missions, but funding has been delayed. Missions like Veritas were postponed due to budget constraints. Meanwhile, China has announced its own plans, promising to launch a Venus mission by 2030, racing to beat the US and Europe. Russia has its own proposals, though its space program struggles under sanctions. So the question becomes, will science reveal Venus's secrets? Or will geopolitics decide who sees them first? Venus is more than just another planet. It's a mirror, a warning, and the silence it keeps may not last much longer. If you want us to keep uncovering stories like this, subscribe and join our mission into space. The next decade will decide Venus's future in science. NASA's Veritas mission, now delayed to the early 2030s, will use state-of-the-art radar to map the surface with precision 100 times better than Magellan. It could catch volcanic eruptions as they happen. Da Vinci Plus, another NASA mission, will drop a probe through Venus's atmosphere, measuring chemical composition as it descends. A suicide dive that may finally confirm or deny the presence of phosphine or other strange gases. ESA's Envision orbiter will look deep into Venus's crust and atmosphere, scanning for tectonic activity and seismic shifts. China's proposed missions aim to study Venus's atmosphere directly, and if successful, could make China the first nation in decades to land there. But beyond the hardware, the implications are larger. Venus is a case study for climate change. Its surface temperature is a snapshot of a runaway greenhouse effect. Understanding how it happened could be critical for Earth's own future. What if Venus once had oceans? What if it was once habitable before tipping into catastrophe? Some scientists argue Venus may have been Earth-like for billions of years until something changed. If we can answer why, we may learn what dangers await our own world. And if Venus is still geologically alive, still erupting, then the story isn't over. It's unfolding right now. We've stared at Venus for millennia. We've called it the morning star, the evening star, the twin of Earth, and yet only now are we beginning to truly see it. It's not the paradise it could have been. It's the warning of what happens when a world turns against itself, a planet that burns in silence, whispering of a future we may one day share if we fail to learn from its fate. The question isn't whether we'll reach Venus. We will. The question is whether we'll understand what it has to teach us before it's too late. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe and share, because the next chapter in space exploration is already unfolding.